we're back here finally at Pasya PH. You are watching the SRHR Roundups webcast, stories and conversations and sexual and reproductive health and rights in the Philippines. Ako po si Teta ng Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights.
At ako naman si Shift ng Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights sa WGNRR. At Pasya PH is your channel on the latest updates on sexual and reproductive health and rights in the Philippines. Kaya we invite everyone, our mga kapasya dyan, to follow our page and always be informed and help support women and girls make informed choices on their body, health, and lives free from discrimination, stigma, and violence.
Yes, for those who are new to this channel, Pasya PH is of course managed by Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights, and today's webcast is brought to us by the She Project with the support of Oxfam and Global Affairs Canada. Maraming salamat. Chief, ano ba ang ating mga roundups of news and stories?
Alright. So, hello sa ating mga kapasya. Hello, Teta. Tama ka no? Ilang linggo na rin yung nakalipas since our last live. And since then, medyo marami-rami rin dumaan na siguro medyo difficult experiences. Such as yung recent spate of typhoons, Ulysses and Rolly, na nanalasa sa iba't ibang areas tulad ng Bicol Region, Metro Manila rin, lalo na yung Marikina, at pagkatapos ng overflow ng Magat Dam sa Cagayan Valley at neighboring regions katulad ng Isabela. So merong mga maraming organizations na nag-respond agad sa situation sa mga areas na yon. At nakakatuwa rin kasi may mga organizations na hindi lang yung usual relief packs yung pinamimigay. At dahil gusto natin i-support yung mga organizations na ito na namimigay rin, for example, ng mga reproductive health products, we're flashing on our screen their contact details and bank account details in case you are ang mga kapasya natin would want to support. Of course, WGNRR is also accepting cash donations for typhoon relief efforts of partner organizations and initiatives in the country. And you will find the details for our call for donations among other organizations' call for donations on Pasya PH Facebook page. In other news naman, and maybe slightly more good news sa policy and legislative arena, the Girls Not Brides Act has already been passed on third and final reading sa Senate. So, with this law, matuturing na criminal act ang pagpapakasal sa menor de edad. Sa House of Representatives naman, the House okays on final reading the bill expanding prohibited discriminatory acts versus women in the workplace. So, klaro naman from the title na it introduces certain protections, more protections for women sa kanilang trabaho. So, those are our SRHR Roundups for this week. Of course, look out for more of our SRHR Roundups every Wednesday only here on Pasya PH.
And today is November 25. Alam niyo po ba, today is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and also marks the first day of what we call as the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Right, Chief?
Yes, Teta. At dahil IDEVAW ngayon, meron tayong special guest, syempre, para tulungan tayo i-explain kung ano ba yung IDEVAW at VAW. So help us welcome our favorite guest, Ms. Marevic Parcon, WGNRR Executive Director. Hello,
yes,
Bing.
Marevic or Maring Bing sa Twitter. Hi, Maring Bing. Kung Maring Bing, kamusta?
Hello, Mariteta. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Magandang hapon, Chief. At sa mga nanonood ngayon, nanonood din ako sa inyo sa Facebook at this point. Yes, ako po yung favorite na taga-opening remarks bilang wala po kayo ibang choice, kundi ako lamang. So, maligaya nga ba, no? Ang 16 days of activism. But I am wearing this just to show everyone that this is SRHR Activist in Action, what we are doing now.
At dahil dyan, right away, dive in tayo. Ms. Bing, ano ba? Bakit ba may violence against women? What is violence against women? And how is it different to other forms of violence out there?
Out there. Yeah, violence against women, ito yung isa sa pinaka-systematic at widespread na human rights violations. And in fact, for the longest time, it has been also tagged as a public health issue already, no? across geographical boundaries, it affects societies, naging obstacle siya ng maraming mga rights ng mga kababaihan. So ano nga ba siya? Ang definition nito ayon sa mga human rights bodies is an act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, so physical na pananakit, sexual na karahasan, mental na pang-aabuso, at suffering to women, including threats such as coercion, tsaka arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or private life. So, maaring sa publiko at saka sa pribadong pamumuhay. Pero lahat po ng violence against women is a public issue. Isa siyang pampublikong issue, may mga batas po tayo hinggil dito at hindi po nating maaaring sabihin, for the longest time it has been said that this is a private matter. But this one, violence against women in the context of the Philippines and all over the world, we're saying that this is a human rights violation, therefore this is not just a private issue.
Yes. It is very important. Di ba, pag lagi yung common, especially sa context natin, no? I think many other contexts, yung may narinig tayong nag-aaway sa kabilang bahay. And then we always say that, away mag-asawa yan, away yan nila, and we don't have to, di tayo dapat makialam. So, very important yung binabanggit Ms. Bing, yung human rights violation. And if it's a human rights violation, sino po yung may accountability when it comes to VAW?
Dahil human rights violation siya, no, is tungkulin ng Estado na naprotektahan ang karapatan ng kanyang mga citizens, lalo na yung mga vulnerable na mga citizens. Pero babalikan ko lang ng kaunti, bakit ko nasabi na isa siyang widespread na violation, ayon sa mga studies, 1 in every 3 women, isa sa bawat 3 kababaihan ay nakakaranas ng violence o yung paglabag ng kanyang karapatan sa forma ng sinabi na nga natin kanina, sexual, mental, physical, at iba pang mga manifestation and forms sa kanyang lifetime. So bilang isang babae, nakaranas din ako nito. At yung iba pa nating mga kasamahan ng mga kababaihan. At ito ay nakaapekto na ng more than 1 billion women na sa buong mundo, na walang protection sa estado nila, tungkol sa economic violence, nakaapekto din ng 1.4 million ng kawalan ng proteksyon laban sa domestic economic violence. So, hindi lang siya tungkol sa physical, nagmamanifest siya even dun sa social and economic issue, at nagmamanifest din siya kahit sa sa iba pang mga public spheres, like for example, sexual harassments in school, in workplaces and public spaces. Kaya nga, kung narinig natin nitong mga nakaraan, malakas ang call natin, for safer public spaces. Kasi nga, ito yung panawagan because there are manifestation of violence against women in public spaces. So bakit siya human rights violation? Human rights violation siya sapagkat karapatan ng bawat nilalang, kababaihan, batang babae, at kung sino man na maging ligtas sa kahit anong forma ng karahasan, ito man ay kung ano pang ko na kanina, lahat tayo ay may kalayaan na laban dito sa karahasan na to at tungkulin ng Estado na protektahan tayo sa laban sa karahasan na ito. Kung bakit kaya siya tinatawag na public na issue, hindi lamang siya pang pribadong issue. Dahil sa Pilipinas, meron tayong mga mekanismo na ginawa ang ating pamahalaan kung saan bunga na rin ito ng aktivismo ng mga kababaihan, ng maraming mga feminista sa Pilipinas kung saan nagkaroon ng mekanismo para maprotektahan ang mga kababaihan laban sa VAW. At lagi nating naririnig kahit sa barangay nga, alam na alam ng mga barangay ito, VAW yan, violence against women and their children.
Right. Thank you for that.
Yes. Ayun. So, siguro gusto ko rin ibalik yun sa news item natin kanina, Ms. Tets, na yung sa child marriage na ginagawa siyang public crime. Kaya kailangan na i-attest na natin na isang human rights violation ang mga ganitong gender-based violence ay para masabi para hindi lang siya hindi lang yung mag-asawa yung involved, pero kasama rin yung state sa pag-push nitong ng mga mechanisms para nga ma-eliminate tong gender-based violence na ito. So, siguro yung question ko, Ms. Bing, yung susunod kong tanong, Ms. Bing, ano namang kinalaman ng GBV o gender-based violence o VAW sa SRHR? Bakit
Okay.
ba't natin siya pinag-usapan ngayon?
Oo, kasi Pasya ay tungkol sa SRHR, no? Usapin sa SRHR. Very, very, anong tawag dito? Masyadong magkaugnay ang dalawang issue na ito. Ang violence against women has devastating sexual and reproductive health consequences. So, kapag nagkaroon ng violence against women, meron itong kaakibat na epekto sa kakayahan ng isang babae o isang batang babae na maka-access ng sexual and reproductive health services, at magkakaroon din ng adverse o mga masasamang health impact itong vow. Halimbawa, nagkakaroon ng maraming sa mga survivors ng violence against women na nagkakaroon ng lifetime na injury, na balian, meron ding nagkaroon ng gynecological disorders, nagkakaroon ng mental health problems, nagkakaroon ng adverse pregnancy outcomes kasi binugbog habang buntis, at ang iba naman ay nagbunga ng sexually transmitted infections at iba pang mula sa isang pasa hanggang sa pinakamalaking usapin kung saan nagko-cause din ito ng pagkamatay ng isang babae. At very linked ang SRHR at ang VAW kasi isa siyang dahil doon sa act o sinasabi natin yung mga forma na iyon, nakakaapekto ito doon sa isa pang karapatan natin, ang karapatan natin para sa ating sexual at pang-reproduktibong kalusugan.
Kasi nga, yung why the IDEVAW, di ba, starts or kicks off the 16 days of activism for against GBV, kasi yung binabanggit natin na parang hindi siya violence against isang person, pero ginagawa itong systematic, yung binabanggit ni Ms. Bing kanina, yung word na systematic, hindi siya parang naisipan lang na gawin ko, hindi, systematically ginagawa siya against a person because of their gender. Kaya isang gender-based violence itong vow. And ultimately, it's a form of control also, di ba? Being at saka pag a woman has no control, most likely din, wala siyang control. For example, maraming cases of violence against women, yung hindi siya makapag-decide for family planning, hindi siya makapag-decide for contraception, o kaya even cases of forced pregnancies, or pwede ding forced abortions, or minsan din, someone wants to not to go through a pregnancy, napupwersa din siya to go through a pregnancy. So yung binabanggit nga na compounding na issues in lahat. So why WGNRR is taking on this campaign? Bakit every year we stand in solidarity, in particular being for this panahon na to? Paano mas nagiging na-highlight o mas importante pag-usapan yung karahasan sa kababaihan at bata?
Lalo na ngayon, mula nung na-impose ang lockdown na COVID-related lockdown, nakita naman natin at naibalita nyo na rin sa roundup in the past na may spike talaga ng usapin ng domestic violence, no? Yung mga karahasan na nangyayari sa loob ng tahanan. Nung March na data na pinalabas ng PNP, mataas yung reported cases. So isa siyang very timely for us to talk about violence against women during this time, because ito din yung time na kung ikaw bilang isang biktima ng pang-aabuso at hindi ka makalabas ng iyong tahanan, iyon ay tantamount to being imprisoned with your abuser. Kaya kailangan talaga na mas mataas yung ating awareness at mas mataas yung ating mga panawagan na maging safe ang lahat laban sa COVID-19 at yung iba pang mga kaakibat na mga na mga karahasan at mga epekto nitong pandemya na ito.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us now to this campaign, IDEVAW. I mean, paano nasimula itong IDEVAW? Bakit may IDEVAW at ano yung kahulugan nito for advocates and activists like us?
IDEVAW. Okay, that's IDEVAW, or the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. Ang IDEVAW ay ginugunita mula November 25, ngayong araw na ito, kada taon. Ito rin ay simula ng isang global campaign na tinatawag na 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence. At natatapos globally, ang 16 Days of Activism sa December 10, kung saan Human Rights Day, para ipaalam na ang vow ay isang uri, no, isa siyang forma ng human rights violations. Kung kaya siya lumulundo, no, sa doon sa pinaka sineselebrate natin bilang tao yung Human Rights Day. Kasi nga ini-insist natin, ina-assert natin that violence against women is a human rights violation. At sa Pilipinas, naiiba tayo kasi na-extend tayo ng 2 araw, no? Sa Pilipinas, ating ginugunita ngayon, mula ngayong araw na ito, ang 18 Days of Action hanggang naman December 12, kung saan ating namang ang action naman natin ay laban sa tungkol sa International Day Against Trafficking. Kasi nga, nakita din natin na sa lawak din na nagiging biktima ng trafficking, ay kinakailangan din na magkaroon siya na maipasok siya dito sa usapin ng violence against women.
So globally, no, if to our viewers out there, you want to support the campaign, you can check out, I know spearheading in the global parang campaigning is UN Women, I believe, no, yung may campaigns lang Orange the World to talk about protection, prevention, funding, and also in terms of collecting data regarding VOW in times of pandemic. And sa Philippines, tama, Chief,
the Philippine Mission on Women. Yes. So yung hashtag sa Manila, I think, ay VowFreePH, and our audience can definitely look that up to see yung mga initiatives naman dito sa Pilipinas.
Yes. PCW is calling on to remind us, yung theme nila is the VOW Free Community starts with me. Ibig sabihin, sa lahat, no, may accountability din, no, every person to end gender-based violence. At the same time, on a wider and on a national level, we are also calling for solidarity. And that's why WGNRR is campaigning this year under the hashtag or theme in Safer in Solidarity. Being, what do we mean by that? Why are we calling solidarity sa panahon ng pandemic lalo?
Yeah, owing dun sa sa history ng IDEVAW, kung saan mga women's rights activists ang nag-umpisa nito, kung saan ang malakas ang panawagan laban sa gender-based violence after ng pinatay yung Mirabal sisters. Dala-dala natin itong history na to, her story of IDEVAW, kung saan sinasabi natin, kami sa WGNRR, tayo sa WGNRR, sinasabi natin na we are safer in our solidarity. So pinapag-ibayo natin ang ating feminist solidarity, ating women's solidarity, para mag-raise ng awareness tungkol sa different forms of violence against women, paano ito nagmamanifest sa panahon ng pandemya, i-strengthen natin ang ating solidarity work towards demanding accountability against all forms of violence against women and gender-based violence. No? Kasi sinabi nga natin, this is a public issue. Isa siyang human rights issue. Kung kaya may accountability ang Estado para protektahan tayo liban sa violence na ito. Kaya hashtag Safer in Solidarity, kung saan mamaya I believe i-explain ni Teta at saka ni Chief kung ano yung mga activities ng WGNRR tungkol dito.
Thank you so much, Ning. Maraming salamat for reminding us, one, I think pinaka-importante, to always look at the history of this remembrance or days of action in its parang protest, no, history, in its progressive history, para laging ma-remind sa sarili natin na these days of actions, one is also a celebration of our solidarity, but at the same time, it's always a reminder for us that our rights are pinaglalaban, and along the paglalaban ng rights nito, there are those women who have also sacrificed their lives, and para ipagpatuloy, and yung role natin as always ay ipagpatuloy itong mga to. Thank you so much, and sa uulitin, being for sure baka next week ikaw ulit. Thank you so much, maraming salamat. Ayan. Thank you sa pagpapaliwanag ni Bing. At sabi nga niya, no, we will also update them. Ano ba yung in store for everyone who wants to join the campaign and support the IDEVAW 2020 and the 16 days of activism against GBV? Shift.
Ayan. Siguro naging reflection ko rin yung sinabi mo, Ms. Tets, no, na compounding factors. And yung context natin ngayon, hindi lang pandemic, pero after typhoon. So marami talagang, for example, sa evacuation centers, may mga issues tulad ng nawawalan ng privacy. That is our right, our part of our SRHR. So marami talaga tayong kailangan pagtuunan na issue. At may 16 days tayo, testament to gaano ka-important at kahalaga at kadami ng comprehensive ng issue na to, na siguro na may 16 days para pag-usapan ito. So, syempre, we would like to highlight for today's SRHR Roundups our campaign, which is Safer in Solidarity. Ayan. So, WGNRR is starting this campaign and inviting organizations, partners, and networks to join us in solidarity against all forms of violence against women and girls. So, yun.
So yung mga activities natin, marami din tayong makakasama. Ano-ano ba yung mga pwede nilang i-watch out for na mga activities o pwede nilang salihan, if ever?
Yes, syempre 16 days, no? So itatry talaga natin yun, punuin ng activities for everyone to be able to join in and understand what exactly is VOW and ano yung mga interconnected issues that might be relevant to especially yung advocates na audience natin and their work. So first, we have partners like C4RH who has taken on our campaign also and integrated issues of gender-based violence in their biennial gathering, yung Women's Celebration of Life and Faith. This year, it's all about creating a culture of compassion and inclusion. They actually already had their first session earlier, parang before our webcast. And there are 5 more sessions, so we will be live streaming this on Pasya PH page. So I hope our audience joins also. Nasa Pasya PH po ang details ng lahat ng mga activities na to. We also have our partner, Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development, and the Girl Defenders Alliance commemorating IDEVAW and the 18-day campaign through a series of online events. And of course, we opened a call for teach-ins or solidarity teach-ins to our partners where they could discuss various issues of VOW relevant to their work. So ayan yung mga teach-ins na meron tayo. Meron din, follow din young advocates for SRHR, which is also joining in. So very active yung youth natin for our 16 days of activism. Ang daming activities na nakahanda for everyone. And if you're an organization who wants to work with us and organize an event, do not hesitate to contact us on Pasya PH or email us, of course. Our contact details are on our page for you to contact.
Yes, thank you, Chief. You know what? Even 18 days of activism is not even enough, no, to actually address all of these issues. Kasi yung binabanggit natin, the forms of violence against women and girls happen in all spaces, be it domestic space, be it in the family space, within the community, in the streets, and even done by institutions, or even violence that could be perpetrated by duty bearers, no, or the state. So maraming dapat gawin. And sa ngayon, lalo na we are forced to retreat to our homes, and many women and girls are locked in. Yung binabanggit nga ng speaker natin kanina, that they are also locked in with their perpetrators, and many survivors are also being kept from probably getting help or seeking justice. Kaya malaking bagay, malaking tulong yung pagsasama-sama natin. We are calling for safer in solidarity kasi even if physically distancing ang kailangan sa atin ngayon dahil minsan nakakalimutan natin may COVID, pero actually may COVID pa, by the way. Pero we find our safety in solidarity. So through this campaign, we hope to raise awareness on what are the forms of violence, how do we help, like tingnan kung paano ito nagmamanifest. Second, through our pages and our partners, we will try to raise awareness also on what are the protective mechanisms and prevention mechanisms na pwedeng ma-avail at ma-access ng mga kababaihan at mga bata. And also, yun nga, yung binabanggit kanina na yung strengthening a solidarity towards demanding accountability. So watch out po, lalo na dito sa ating SRHR Roundups. Meron tayong guests next week, like the Philippine Commission of Women. We have talks with Commission on Human Rights. We are also, like, hopefully, we get to talk with the PNP Women's Desk para din magbigay sila ng mga information on the law enforcement and protective mechanisms and so many other teach-in. Kaya please join us and always be updated on the latest.
Of course, mangyayari ang lahat ng ito at i-broadcast sa Pasya PH page. So we invite our viewers to keep following us and keep updating themselves on the latest SRHR news and updates here on SRHR Roundups and through the Pasya PH page.
Yes, see you again next Wednesday at 5 p.m. Ayan, binago na po namin yung oras para siguradong pwede kayong manood. See you at maraming salamat po sa mga nanood.